greenhouse gas workshop. Hope you all are nice and awake. Apologies if this training is too early in the morning, but it was the only time for me to train. All right, so just the first thing, I know you all can see the camera at the back there. Don't worry about confidentiality. This is just for my accreditation for the TTT. So yeah, don't worry too much about that. And so I'll just do a quick safety briefing right now. So if you guys know where the toilet is, it's outside the glass door, all the way to the end. And if you guys need to, if there's an emergency, if let's say the alarm starts ringing, you just need to follow me to the stairs, and then we'll go all the way down 23 floors, and we'll head to Ritz-Carlton, all right, to the assembly point. And if you need to use the surround, it's up on the 26th floor, right? Anything else, I will let you guys know. Later, there's a few break times, so don't worry, it's not a 4-hour straight training. I will not make you all suffer. All right, so there's few breaks in between and all. All right, so everyone good? Yes. Least excited crowd. Okay, so we'll just go a quick. Okay, so just a quick introduction by myself. My name is Joel. I am in YTL SV Carbon. It's a subsidiary of YTL Corp. It's basically a carbon consulting subsidiary. So basically, we measure the greenhouse gases for YTL Group. We also help with green initiatives and all that. And also, we deal with carbon credits and RECs, which you guys will hear about later. Okay. So before we continue, we'll just get the ball rolling by playing a quick icebreaker. Okay, so if you see in your tables, there's a paper, a white paper, right? So there are numbers on it. Can you see the numbers? The paper on your table. So there's four. One person should get one. Right, there's a number on it. So what I need you guys to do is to find another person with the same number, introduce yourself, let them know which subsidiary you're from, and tell them one fun fact about yourself. Yes, fun fact. Can. So if you see number 1, you find another person with number 1. You see number 2, find another person with number 2. Number 2? Extra pen. Extra pen. Semua pen di sini. Okay, sure.
I have one pen.
Okay, you have 1 minute left. Hi. Yeah, Cygnus, got one more chair here actually. Yeah. I think, yeah. Stop. Can whichever is fine. Because she's the extra person. Okay. Yeah, so you can switch. Oh, no. So you want a different person, right? No, she's the extra person. Oh, okay. Yeah. She didn't sign up for the course, so yeah. See. Yeah, can sit down anywhere. Yeah. It should be here. Done. Okay, so before we start, we will just do a quick attendance marking. Right, so I'll just pass you all this paper for your attendance. Oh, you got your own pen? Oh. Everyone okay if I turn off the light? Okay, cool. So before we continue, I'll just show you a quick video. Right, so okay, so how many of y'all have been through that flood before? This was in 2020. So how many of y'all were affected by the flood in 2020? End of 2022, sorry. Anyone from Klang? Nobody from Klang. Okay, got a few people from Klang. Okay, so if y'all were not affected, so nobody was affected by floods before in your life? Been through flood waters, okay. Okay, at least 1 point. Okay, so yeah, so I think most of us remember recently, so we had floods a few days ago. So sorry, last week. Last week there were major floods everywhere, and recently we've been seeing like more and more floods frequently happening, right? And I think 2022 was like one of the worst floods actually we've seen. And I think I had like one friend who owns a dog shelter in Hul Langat, and I remember his place was like affected by the flood, like really, really bad. And the worst part was it's because it's a dog shelter, so most of his dogs actually got swept away. So that was really, really intense. So how many of y'all have been part of like a cleanup crew or whatever? Anyone? Yes. Anyone else? Nobody helped out with the flood. Okay. So yeah. So basically, but then the good side of that story, not good side lah, but the brighter side of that story was that the dogs got swept away, but actually like quite a number of them actually returned back to the house. So yeah, it's surprising they actually found their way. So yeah, as we can see, floods actually affect us now more than ever, and it's like undeniable that it's because of climate change. And so today we're here to this workshop, and we will sort of educate you about like how greenhouse gases cause climate change. I'll go into my learning point now. So these are the 3 learning outcomes that you'll come to learn today. Today, basically, you'll be able to understand the causes of climate change, which is mainly our greenhouse gases. You'll be able to also see our data collection template, which YTL Sustainability actually sends out every year. I'm not sure any of y'all have ever been involved with data collection for greenhouse gases. Yes, OSHA got it. Okay, so yeah, so quite a number of we're planning to like educate more and more people why we collect data and what we do with the data. All right, and then the last one, basically you'll be able to understand the hierarchy of carbon management. Okay, so I'll be talking a bit more here. Hope you all don't mind. So I believe that we were all created, and we were all created to manage and holistically manage the earth and its resources. But over time, from hunter-gatherers, we've actually become gone through the industrial revolution. So from hunting animals, we've started producing animals. We've started making them GMO and all. So we've gone through a lot of revolutions to come to where we are right now, and it's becoming more and more large scale. It's how many of y'all have ever been to a aquatic farm before? Never? In Bukit Merah or anywhere? No? So it's huge plots of land have become ponds for in Bukit Merah, specifically for arowana. Not sure if y'all have seen area, but entire huge landscapes have just become ponds for arowana fish. And yeah, this is sometimes for necessity, sometimes it's just for profits. Yeah, we've seen in the past, the 1900s, from using horses, 13 years later, we started already using cars. From using sail ships, about 30 years later, we started already using steam-powered ships. All right, so it's becoming more and more. Our resources have been absolutely plummeted, and we've been using more and more stuff. Right, even the use of plastics. The plastics are everywhere, and they're just everywhere. You can't go to anywhere where there's no plastic. All right. So before we continue, okay, so this is a quick game. So how many here from Vital Construction? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, very good. Okay, so I'm sure you guys know a lot about construction. I'll give, so these cards are points, but you'll come to use them at the end of the session, right? So can anyone, so this go by first come, first serve basis, okay? So if you raise up your hand first, I'll give you a point, but if you get the answer correct. So how many materials can you sort of guess go into construction? Anyone? Concrete. Glass. Metal steel, okay. Bricks. Timber. Anything else? Anything else? Glass, or is it? Fiber can. Sand. Anything else? I think Moitel is famous for that one thing. Anything else? Anything else? Anything else? The one thing I mentioned just before this. No, they're everywhere, all around. Plastic. Anything else? Come on, this is a good time to get points, guys. You'll need this later. Huh? Tiling, yeah. Can lah. I can give you the whole thing. Okay, so as you all know, construction is made of a lot of stuff. You got your concrete, you got your cement, you got your sand, you got plastics, you got glass. Everything is made of everything you see around. All right, but can you guess which one of these is the highest sort of emissions? The highest emissions come from this one material. Sorry? No? PVC. Very good. Yep. And in fact, it is PVC. So, yeah, so here's a graph. Every material you can find. Concrete is about 0.159 carbon dioxide per kg. So per kg of cement, concrete, that's how much carbon dioxide it is, right? And PVC, absolute highest, 24.4 carbon dioxide per kg. All right, so the reason why plastics are very high emissions, because you know plastics come from petroleum, and petroleum is obviously the highest. Petroleum is basically your main chain of carbon. It comes from petroleum, right? So we've seen plastics used very everywhere. You've seen plastics used in grocery stores, construction, everywhere, and obviously this is the issue also lah, and this is what we get out of it. How many of you can guess which one of these pictures are in Malaysia? Which one of these pictures are in Malaysia? No? Yeah. So this, and this, all Malaysia. Yeah. The other two are not from Malaysia. So I'm also part of an NGO called MARISET, which is they research marine mammals in Malaysia. So we've got whales, dolphins, and all. We research them. All right. So this is a video that we took a few months ago. So this is about 40 km off Langkawi, where you can find whales. But also, you can find a lot of trash. And the water is so clear there, absolutely clear. But you can see all the way down, it's just trash. And the number of times our boat had to stop because the engine, you know your motorboat engine, right? Just get stuck with trash and you have to stop. Take out the trash, continue. So it's just mad amount of plastics everywhere. Yes, Andaman. Yep. So basically, we've been taking nature for granted. I don't want to preach to you all and say, oh, you guys are bad people and all that. So yeah, we have been taking nature for granted. Me, myself, all of us, even sustainability, we have been taking nature for granted. But it is time to change. And we are reaching the planet's boundaries. We use more resource. We use things without a cap. It's also caused so climate change has also caused certain areas to become wetter, certain areas to become hotter. Like now we are experiencing our area to be even more wetter than it was. So I'm not sure if you guys have seen Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia looks like this, right? So this was sometime in 2022, I think, should be. But can you even guess what Saudi Arabia looks like now? Yes, it is green. So more places you get rain in places where there was no rain, and this is what happens. You change. This might look good, but it's not. Generally, you want your environment to stay as how it was, as it was. But if you change things, certain animals can't live there anymore. So we've seen different areas where rivers have dried up, and the main cause of it is our greenhouse gases. All right. So this is the main subject for today. Your greenhouse gases are your cause of climate change. Can anybody tell me who says greenhouse gases are good for you? Anyone? Are greenhouse gases good? No? All bad.
It's necessary.
It's necessary. Very good. Yes. So greenhouse gases aren't completely bad. They are bad when there's too much, but generally they keep our earth warm. So all of us, our body functions at 37 degrees Celsius. Your enzymes in your body, they function at 37 degrees Celsius. If they function any lower, your body will not function. So that's why you see most people, they die in Everest, not only because of the lack of oxygen, but then because of the cold, right? So basically, greenhouse gases, they are good at trapping heat. We do need heat to function as a person, right? So mainly there are about 7 greenhouse gases in the world. It's categorized 3 actually. So the first one is carbon dioxide, second is methane, and the 3 are your CFCs, your HFCs, your CFCs, your nitrous oxides, and everything else, right? So each one of these gases have a certain potency, right? So we use carbon dioxide as a reference because it's the one that's the most stable. So most stable means it can last a very, very long time. So all these other gases, methane, nitrous oxide, your perfluorocarbons, they're all reference to carbon dioxide, right? So methane would actually be 28 times more potent than carbon dioxide. And then you see nitrous oxide is about 265. So the rest seems really high, right? But actually, your most abundant gas in the air, your greenhouse gas in the air, is actually carbon dioxide. The rest come in very, very small forms, right? Because we're all made of carbon, actually. So when you burn wood, paper, or anything like that, your main chain is actually carbon. We are all made of carbon. That's why it's the most abundant. Okay, so when we calculate our emissions, later on I'll show you this, but when we calculate our emissions, we change everything to CO2e. So it's a carbon dioxide equivalent. So everything is referenced to carbon dioxide. We'll show you guys the calculations later. So, okay, so the global change to climate change. All right. So do any of you all know what's an ozone layer? Ozone layer, have heard of it? I remember when I was 11 years old, everyone was saying like I cannot use aerosol anymore. Do you remember that phase? Yeah, you guys are probably older than me. So so that time the ozone layer was depleting. This was in Antarctica, so there was a hole forming on the ozone. The issue with that was your ozone is actually a good layer which filters out your certain UV rays, right? So that you don't get skin cancer, so that you don't mainly skin cancer was the main issue of UV rays, right? So the global response at that time was everybody needs to stop using aerosol. CFCs were actually very, very stable. They were non-flammable, which is why they were used everywhere. They were used in fridges, they were used in aerosol cans, everything. So that's why we use CFCs. But over time, some scientists discovered that, there's actually a hole forming on the above Antarctica, right? So after that, there was a response to it. A lot of people, the scientists published the data, and then you started getting it, what do you call it now, viral, basically. So that's when there was actually the thing called Montreal Protocol. And because of this protocol, a few countries said they're going to ban CFCs, right? So ever since then, your CFCs actually dropped and the ozone layer is actually healing. So it's expected to fully heal at 2065. So it's still not fully healed yet. It is going up. But from this, I can tell you that because the countries have worked together, because there was a certain unity within countries, there is a change, right? So I'm not saying, Earth is going to end because of greenhouse gases and we're all going to die. But if we can work together, all together, then we can see some change, right? So in terms of greenhouse gases, there were some unity. There was some unity between the countries. So this is the very first treaty. It's called the Kyoto Protocol. Basically, it was a signatory between 192 parties. All right, but this completely failed. Although it was aimed to reduce your CO2 and your GHGs in the air, but it completely failed. So basically, the function of this was to separate countries or categorize countries by developing and non-developed, right? So developed would be like US, UK, and all that. Developing would be like us, India. China was actually counted as a developing country. The problem with this was that at a certain point, US actually said, "Oh, we don't want to be part of this anymore." And also, not sure if you guys heard of the CDM. It's called the yes, Clean Development Mechanism. What is it? So you've heard. So many of you all have heard of the Clean Development Mechanism. Only you. Oh, okay, cool. So at that time, the clean development mechanism completely failed. So what you call carbon credits now was actually the clean development mechanism. All right. So, but the issue with the clean development mechanism was that certain emissions were not verified or certain reductions were not actually validated. So you have a lot of issues with audit, basically, and this completely failed, which is why your CDM prices completely crashed, right? And then after that, in 2015, there was the Paris Agreement. This was a deal done in 2015 at COP21. And basically, the aim of this was to limit the global average temperature from rising above 2 degrees Celsius. Again, I'm sure you remember this 2 degrees Celsius. And but it also aimed to try to limit the global average temperature from 1.5 degrees Celsius. So it's 1.5 and there's 2 degrees Celsius, right? So your global average temperature. So if you were to combine all your temperatures around the world, Antarctica, Malaysia, India, Africa, everything, it will come up to about 23 degrees Celsius, right? But it is rising. So over time, it has actually risen quite a lot. And the treaty just now said that we cannot go even more than 1.5. So if the average rises above 1.5 or 2, then there's going to be a lot of catastrophe. So scientists have also come up with a lot of scenarios of what will happen if we rise above 2 and if we rise above 1.5. Currently, actually very sadly, we've actually passed 1.5 already. So the global average temperature has already passed 1.5. So right now, if you read a lot of sustainability reports saying that they're 1.5 degrees Celsius aligned, it's not necessarily true. It has to be now it should try to be 1.5 because that's more of the harder limit, but now we are actually going to reach 2. Okay, so your first group activity for today. So you guys have your tables. So get one table there, one table here. So you got your whiteboards. So I need you guys to discuss how does climate change impact you, your business, your project, if you're in any projects outside, and your country, right? So obviously all Malaysia. So see what you can come up with. How does climate change impact you, your business project, and your country? Okay, I'll give you guys about 15 minutes. Sounds good? So you all can use this whiteboard. You can use this one. Hey, you guys use the whiteboard because later we'll discuss. Yeah, okay. Right there first then. Okay.
And then we can cut down. Sometimes it's ada yang apa tu USB punya connector.
Oh. No, it's not detecting. Is it? No. Oh yeah, it's already here. Huh? What is that? Hmm. Actually, it's okay lah. Can use the yeah. Hmm. Yeah, it's okay. Hmm. Okay. Sorry. Check the basement. Oh. Okay, you got 5 minutes. Got a lot of time. Sure. Can. No, two of them from playing.
Oh, I thought you also got the
Is that no more points already? Okay. Yeah. Okay, so everyone raise your index finger. Everyone raise your index finger. Yep, raise your index finger. Yep. Okay. Can everyone raise? Yep, yep. Yeah, angkat tangan semua. Okay. Cool. Okay, so now I want you to point at the person you want to present your group's activity. Okay, who wants to start? We'll go with this group first. You guys finished earlier. Yeah, yeah. You just hold this. Just hold. Kena pegang. Thank you.
Ini nanti akan mengganggu kalau ni use more aircon and mobil. Impact kepada kita flash food, cardiac, easy to senang jatuh sakit dengan property damage. And then business akan delay project timeline dan new business opportunities. Country lose cost for repair and food security.
Nice. You all want to expand the new business opportunities? I just want to know. Oh. Oh, okay. Hmm. Yeah, yeah. All right. Okay, second group. You wanna?
What is this?
Yes,
Was this a mic
yeah.
only? Okay. Okay. Impact on the individual and family on us. Okay. First one is not comfortable. That means you may sweat a lot and things like that. You may feel inconvenient, uncomfortable. All right. Second one is increased household expenditure. You most probably need to use the aircon more, keep the fan on all the time and things like that. And of course, health issues, because you of course can have sometimes skin related problem or any other problems, so it affect you and your family. So the business of the company, first one is the project delay due to extreme weather, due to climate change. Then we also sometimes you have safety issues to site, especially to site personnel. Of course, it can in fact affect everyone, but more so to the site personnel. And then okay, supply chain disruption, long lead times and all that. This because we don't even we are not only looking at just hot weather, but all extreme weather. Say torrential rains and whatever it is, major climate change. So it can really affect the supply chain. Okay, then for the impact on the country, you have food security, impact on the food security, food supply, and things like that. Okay, then you have lot of impact, and it affects tourism a lot. It affects the economy of the country. It could potentially affect. And then, of course, due to the rising sea levels, especially all those people who are living around the coastal areas or rivers and things like that, they could be affected. And in general, the country itself will be affected. Okay, thanks.
You can ask if you. So anybody, any questions from both sides? No? All good? Okay, cool. So yeah, I like your point on also, I think both of you have similar points on the using more aircon, so your mobile, so your increased household expenditure, which is true. I think most of us use aircon at night. Who doesn't use aircon? Nobody, yeah, everybody uses aircon. Okay. Mostly? Mostly don't use. Oh, wow. Okay, so we'll just take a quick, good discussion. So we've covered what causes climate change. We've covered the impacts of climate change, and I'm sure you guys know how climate change impacts you, your business, and your country. So we'll take a quick 10-minute break, 10-15-minute break. Is that fine, everybody? Cool. Okay, we'll just take a quick break now, and your coffee, tea is all outside. All right. So what standards do we use? We currently use the GHG protocol. This sort of categorizes your emissions into 3 scopes, which we'll also go into later. And there's also the ISO 14064, which also further defines your emissions into categories, right? And how do we calculate emissions? Basically, it's your resource usage multiplied by an emission factor. All right, so there's emission factors we will come to later. Your resource usage can be something like fuel, kilograms of the item you use, gigajoules of any sort of LPG also they use. But for every material that is in the world, there is an emission. There most likely is an emission factor. Okay, so boundaries in the GHG inventory. So obviously we want to categorize our GHGs, whether it's ours or not. And sometimes we use this, not sometimes, but most of the times we want to define our boundary. Where do we report, what to report. This, you also need a boundary for this. So there's 3 types of boundaries you can use: the financial control, equity share, and operational control. Currently in YTL, we use the financial control approach. All right, so we go through the annual report. So at the end of the annual report, you'll have all your subsidiaries, right, and your equity share. Okay, so financial control, how we define financial control is if we have more than 51% equity share of the company, then we define that as financial control, full financial control. All right, so equity share, how do you use these two? So if let's say that's you use financial control, if it's more than 51, we account for all the emissions in the company. And if let's say equity share, we see the percentage. So if let's say it's 67%, we calculate the emissions for that one company and we multiply that by 67%, because that's the equity share of the company. Operational control is a bit tricky, but it's used in most companies actually. So it's how much operational control you have over an asset or company. Then you multiply that also relatively to your emissions. So for example, this is the boundaries under SPYTL. There's a few companies under SPYTL which is more than 51% equity. So we count this as all full financial control. So while you might think that we just can get all the emissions data for these companies, sometimes it is tricky to find PICs. It's sometimes quite tricky to obtain data because obviously you guys know it's not nice when somebody just knocks on your door and like give me your data. So that's one challenge that I think most companies face, and also something that we face. Okay, so this is your GHG inventory. So I mentioned the GHG protocol earlier. So basically, GHG protocol defines your emissions into 3 categories: Scope 1, Scope 2, Scope 3. So I want you to think of Scope 1 as burn. Can you remember the word burn? So it's something that you directly burn. So Scope 1 is basically your direct emissions. So whether you use fuel for your company-owned assets like cars or trucks or anything like that, you have direct emissions because you control the asset and you directly burn the fuel, right? So basically, your Scope 1 emissions, your data would generally be from fuel use operations, fuel use in your vehicles, and lastly, refrigerants. Okay, it's all this is Scope 1 because you control what fuel goes in your car. You control what fuel you use in your company. Scope 2 is called buy. Okay, so first one was, what was the B I mentioned? Anyone? Very good. Okay, so second one is basically buy. So this one's your indirect emissions. So basically, the emissions occur outside of your company, but because you buy the energy from that other company, you indirectly is your indirect emissions. Okay, so basically the burning of, let's say, TNB, but they burn coal, they use solar, they use all that. They generate electricity, but because of their operations, you still buy their electricity, right? So that's indirect emissions. So Scope 2 is generally energy most of the time, right? So it can come in the form of electricity, steam, heat, or cooling. So I think any of you know the district cooling plant in Putrajaya? Nobody? So the Putrajaya has a district cooling plant. So you generally buy cooling. Some buildings around, they buy cooling from there. So that's your indirect emissions. Emissions occur outside your company, but you indirectly purchase. I mean, you purchase the electricity or energy. Scope 3. So Scope 3 is basically the word beyond. So the first one was? Very good. Second one was? Second one was, the third one here, Scope 3 is beyond. So all this is beyond your company's direct control. All this is basically your supply chain. So generally, it's categorized into 15 categories under the GHG protocol. And all this is basically categorized into your upstream activities and your downstream activities. This part is generally the most complicated of the entire scope because it is your supply chain. It is hard to calculate your supply chain's emissions. It's also indirect, so generally most people are like, oh, why calculate this part? But it is the thing that supplies or makes up your business, right? So can anybody guess how many categories we do in YTL currently, or in YTL Corp? Can anyone guess? 4? No, not all. No. Okay, it's 2. But you know which one? No? Huh? No. So these 2 are currently the important ones on the Bursa requires you to report these 2. No? This is something that, how many of you all have been in YTL for the past year? So you entered, I mean, you've been longer here than 2023. Everyone? Longer than 2023? Okay. So you should know one of these, hopefully. Anyone? It came out a Monday memo. No? Okay. So it's your employee commuting and your business travel. Yeah. So employee commuting. So I guess none of you all did the survey. Okay, so this is so now we go into how to calculate your emissions. Okay, so your first part is basically your activity data, like I mentioned. So the energy or fuel you use, or even your vehicle, your distance travel. So for example, that employee commute survey that you did, we calculated all the distances, and we also asked like, oh, what kind of vehicles you use, whether it's a 1.0 cc engine, whether you use a train and all that. So all that goes into data, and all that we basically divide. Because a lot of data work is we divide everything and then we multiply it by the emission factors available. So the emission factors right now, there are a few sources. Generally, how you want to choose your emission factors is you want to choose local ones first. So if let's say Malaysia has a list of, let's say you're in a country, Australia maybe, you have your own emission factor database. You want to use your country level first, then you want to use IPCC and then DEFRA. So DEFRA is a UK-based emission factor database. IPCC is generally a worldwide database. Okay, so we'll quickly go into. So I'll just show you guys what the GHG data collection template looks like. So how many of you have actually seen this template before? Never. Okay, yeah, I assume most of you have never seen this template before. I'll just show you guys anyway. So basically, generally we send out Excel files, which is a bit of the hassle lah, because a lot of people, they don't like filling up Excel files. So generally we ask for type of fuel, we'll ask for the unit of measurement, the amount of fuel you consume, and sort of any remarks and whatever. And this is quite important now, which is your source. Because currently in the 2027, all this GHG data needs to be audited. It has to be audited. So it has to trail back to your source. Okay, so also about stationary fuel combustion, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Which one? Stationary fuel combustion? Scope 1. Okay, yes, it is scope 1. So again, this is whatever asset you control. So we ask what type of fuel you use, but generally there is many kinds of fuels available in the market. All right, so this is an example of how we calculate. So that's your, so for example, we use natural gas, you use 1,000 tons of natural gas. So this is a emission factor for natural gas. So everybody remember what's this? Yep, CO2 equivalent. So it's a combination of all your GHGs. Yes, very good. Today I give out a lot of points. Yeah. So basically, CO2e means tons of. So this T is tons. So tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. All right. So basically, that factors in all your GHGs. So sometimes you might see some people report tons of CO2 per ton. So that just means they only count in the CO2. They don't count in every other greenhouse gas. Yeah. So for this example, if you use 1,000 tons of natural gas, you will get 2,690 tons of CO2 equivalent. So generally quite simple, the calculation wise. So mobile combustion is pretty much the same as just now, the stationary combustion. And okay, so where is my, okay, so this mobile combustion, so same thing. So generally this is how people normally fill the data collection template. They'll put in what type of fuel, they put in liters, fuel consumption, the amount, and comments that sometimes leave like, oh, this is used for company vehicle. And yeah, this is your important one, monthly claims. Sometimes it's not enough to only say monthly claims, but you also, sometimes your monthly claims will also have codes to it. Okay, so this one's the other part. So how many of you guys know how to measure your refrigerants? You guys, if you all know what a refrigerant tank looks like, it's very small, this one, right? So I want you guys to compare. So this is quite interesting. So you realize that, so for example, here you use 100 liters of petrol, your emissions from that would be 2.34 tons of CO2e, right? So why refrigerants is in scope 1, your direct emissions? Because it's actually your HFC is actually very, very potent. And the fact that they come in pure form in a tank, if let's say they leak or anything, the emissions is actually very, very high, which is why they need to be also accounted for in your scope 1. So generally we ask for what type of refrigerants you use and how much refrigerants you actually use. This is sometimes hard because a lot of people, so there is a way to calculate this, which is you take your tank, you fill up you take your tank, you measure it, what's the weight, you fill up your gas, and then measure the weight after that. Then the difference is basically your amount you fill up, right? Okay, so see the difference. So just now we used 100 liters and it's only 2.34 tons of carbon dioxide equivalent. But here, we only use 10 kg, it's only 18.1. So it's the emission factor for refrigerant is actually very, very high. So generally, if you realize that your refrigerant, your aircon is always getting warmer, means it is leaking and it is leaking refrigerant gas, right? So actually, a good side to having this GG collection, data collection template, if you do it monthly, you can actually see a trend. If let's say you realize that you're filling up aircon gas every month, there must be a problem to that. So that's what I realized in other companies that we did. We realized that this company was doing every month they were filling up gas, and every month they were the emissions were really high because of the scope 1 emissions. And we found out that it was actually a gas leak in one of their refrigerants, in one of their aircons. Okay, so then your scope 2 emissions would generally ask what sort of where does your indirect energy come from? Your unit measurement, kWh or NWH, your amount of energy, and rest is the same as earlier on. Right, so this is your TNB bill, which you can find where to find your amount of energy used. Okay, so this was the one that we posted earlier. So anybody seen this? I remember. Okay, yeah. So this is the one that we did this year. So basically, we're trying to make this into an annual practice. Every year, we'll send this out. Every year, we're trying to improve the data collection process. What's the feedback from this? Anybody find this annoying to annoying to do? Time consuming. Okay. Anything else? Who actually did this one? 1, 2, King, and 2 only. Nobody else saw this. Okay, you guys must have been busy. Okay, so yeah, that's your employee commute data, and then so this business travel. Basically, the difference between business travel and employee commute data is basically how your employee comes to work and all that. How your employee comes to work and goes back home. But your business travel is more on work related travel. So if let's say you claim, let's say you send in your receipt to claim, that's counted as business travel. So this one can actually come in many forms of data. If let's say it's claims, then it's actually much easier. You can claim for the fuel, and then we calculate your fuel use times emission factor. But sometimes that's not always available, so we sort of use an average of let's say use a commercial flight. So we use emission factor for a commercial flight. Okay, so everyone remember what was the scope 1? Scope 1, what do you call it? Starts with B. Scope 2? Scope 3? Yep, okay. Cool, that brings us to our next activity. Okay, let me just show this up on screen first. Okay. You never read? You never see? What's more? Okay, let me just pass this out first. So just now you realized, just now we did. Oh, so yeah, okay. So now I need 3 groups. So these 3 groups will maintain until the end of the class. So do you all want to split yourselves, or do you want me to split yours? Okay, 3. So I think 1 person needs to go there. Okay. One. Okay. Yeah, all three same. Okay, so basically the picture that you see in the front here is basically basically the company structure for this company called OPQ International. All right. So basically, what you're supposed to do here, is anyone going to read the first paragraph? Can anyone going to read? Can read for the entire class. Anyone? 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 Okay.
This is the first paragraph, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is a case study scenario with a significant turnover and a sizable workforce. It is crucial to understand the company's environmental impact. You have been tasked with conducting an emissions analysis for the construction sites that fall under OPQ Constructions Limited to identify and quantify the different types of emissions and their corresponding scopes. This analysis will help the company develop strategies to minimize its environmental footprint and align with sustainability goals. So you have to answer the following 3 questions.
Okay. So it's divided into A, B, and C. So A would be here, B here, and C would be a longer one. So C would be a table that goes up to the back. All right. So I'll give you guys. So any questions before we start this one? Any questions? Or you want to read first? Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So I'll move this whenever you want to. So you can start with the first question lah. Start with A, then I'll move it down later. Okay? Sounds easy. Okay, I'll give you guys 15 minutes to do this one. Alright? $15 and we'll discuss together. So this part will help you with question 1. There's another graph down here will help you with question number 2. Yeah, so your percentage share is your equity share for the company. So see the question. The question asked for OPQ construction, right? L&M. Yeah.
Question B also based on this figure.
No, question B is further down. So everyone okay with question 1? Go back to first one. All right. Can? Sorry, what? Okay. Okay, so if you're at number C already, okay, so if for just a quick one about C. Okay, so the first one, business unit, is all fixed. Second column, GHG emission source is fixed. The one that you need to correct is the GHG emission scopes and the data collection unit. Okay, everything else, the three other columns are all fixed. Data collection unit. Yeah. Yeah, all fixed.
Gas in the car air condition,
No. Maybe one day.
or the gas in the MRT aircon.
No, no. But you will still come up with it.
I have my station, then you will, the thing I can pass it around.
You take money, then you take the emissions. Yeah, capital. Still all be purchase goods. Capital goods are like your assets and all that. Okay, I give about 1 more minute, then we can start discussing. Everyone done? All 3 groups done? Oh, done already. Okay. Let me go back to the slide. Okay. Okay, so we go through the answers, okay? Okay, so for the first one, A, if OPQ Construction were to produce their own sustainability report, which subsidiaries and projects would fall under their boundary? So, which one? If it's more than 51% control. Okay, correct. Okay, second one. Which assets, office, or sites would need to account for their emission sources based on boundaries set above? Yeah, so, okay, Christchurch, some more? Yep. Yeah, and? Yeah, general operations. So one more would be general operations. Yep. So this one is your general operations of the company, lah. Okay, so see, this is the tricky one which everyone might be surprised at your answers. Okay, so the first one, OPQ construction. What's the answer here? First one, first row. Scope 3. Everyone, scope 3? Yeah. Okay, very good. Next one. Who wants to answer next one? Second row. Second row, sure or not? Scope 1, scope 3. Correct, scope 3. Okay, why? Correct, scope 3. Wait, Yep, it's employee commute. It's for staff, yep. Is the data collection unit correct? Is the data collection unit correct? Yep, kilometer. Ken? No, it's kilometer, correct. Yeah. Ken, 3. Okay, so third one. 3, are you sure? Huh? Scope 1. Yep. Yeah, you control the petrol. You control the petrol you use in the car. Yeah, so it's scope 1. Okay, fourth one. Concrete. 3. Everyone got 3? Anything else wrong with that part? Sure not? Yep, data collection unit. It's not in liters. It's tons actually. Because you get powder, it's a yeah. Can lah, both interchangeable. Sure. You guys are construction, you know. But generally, the emission factor for concrete or cement, it comes in tons or kg. Yeah. Okay, so next one, diesel. One. Everyone got one? Okay. Is the data collection unit correct? Yeah. Okay, next one, electricity. Yep, scope 2. Yep, kilowatt hour. Next one. Huh? Yeah, farms limited. Correct. So everyone got the answer or not? It's not in your boundary. Yep. So OPQ Farms Limited is, let me just get it here. Yeah. So OPQ Farms Limited is here. Yep, got some trick questions here. Okay, so next one. Your freight rail. Yep. Everyone got 3? Scope 3? Okay, very good. Scope 3. Next one, HFC, HCFC. Everyone got scope 1? Okay. Next one, LPG. 1? Fuel. Yep. So it's your fuel. It's your fuel purchase also. So as long as it's something that you burn, it's your own. Yeah, you burn it, ma. Yeah. Scope 1. Everyone got scope 1, huh? Okay. Next one, paper use. Yep. Which category would that be? Earlier, I think one of the groups asked for the picture, right? So which category would that be? Let's go back there. Oh. Okay. So for paper use, which one would it be? Which category would it be? Yeah, purchase goods and services. Yep. Okay, so next one, OPQ solar power. Correct. So it's not in boundary. Okay, next one, your petrol. Score 1? Everyone go score 1? 1, alright, correct. Next one, steel. 3, everyone got 3? Okay, correct. Scope 3. Yep, it's in tons. Next one, again, steel. Yep, very good. Next one, wood chips. 3? Okay, very good. Scope 3. And last one. Yes, very good. Okay, well done, everybody. You've done your case study. So basically, this is what we do. This is what we do in SV Carbon and Sustainability. We see whether business units are relevant or not, and then we see what sort of data we need to collect. Right? And if you notice from your entire sheet, can you count how many scope 3s you have here? Yeah, how many scope 3s you have here? Yeah, so 8 out of the entire thing is your scope 3. So generally, you now understand that most of your emissions actually come from your scope 3. Yeah. Okay, cool. So we'll just take a 5-minute break. Is that fine? 10 minutes? Can. Okay. Is that 11? One key point you learned so far. One key point you learned so far in the past 3 hours. Find your partner and then tell each other. Yep. Everyone got partner? Yeah. Just for what? Oh, you know. Oh, then 2 of y'all. Eh? 1, 2. Yeah, each person will say one key point. Can? Can be simple as that. All different, all three different.
All must be different.
Okay, everyone else done? Okay, all ready? Okay, everyone raise your index finger. Okay, point at the most handsome person or most handsome girl in the group. Not me, anyone but me. Only lady. Okay, so no one represent. So just name your key point and then point at somebody else. The key point that you learn.
Key point.
Yeah, then pass this to the next person.
I learned scope 1, 2, and 3.
Okay. Okay, you can pass to whoever you choose.
Okay, pinjam our group member about the ozone layer healing, and it'll be healed by 2065.
Okay.
So that's a good point. Thanks.
Okay.
Okay,
Can
siapa?
pass it on next.
Buang sana. John, pilih lah siapa.
Aku CO2E equivalent.
Okay.
Aku pula lah. Saya pula.
Yeah, each person.
Yeah, also the ozone auto healing. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, continue. Choose.
Come this group again.
We all finish learning already. Ni bos besar.
Impact of climate change. Okay.
I know about the YTL sustainability survey.
Okay.
Dah, saya dah.
Ni abang dah.
Okay. Good job, everybody. Okay, so just to recap, so far we have learned the impacts of climate change. Then we've also learned how we categorize emissions in the GHG protocol, scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. What is scope 1? Scope 2? Scope 3? Very good. Okay, so now we go into carbon neutrality and net zero. So here we'll talk about the, you can go back to your places if you want. So here we'll talk about the carbon market, we'll talk about the compliance market, talk about the voluntary market. I'm sure, have anyone heard of any of this before? Compliance, voluntary market? No, it'll be something new. Okay, cool. So first we'll go into net zero and carbon neutrality. So I want you to guess right now, our YTL, are we heading towards carbon neutral or net zero? Neutral, correct. Very good. Well, so now we'll just talk about like the differences between carbon neutral and net zero. So generally, carbon neutral would be to balance off your emissions. So whatever emissions you produce, you purchase offsets to balance those emissions, right? And for net zero, we basically trying to avoid all your emissions, your scope 1, scope 2, scope 3, trying to reduce as much. And the most hard to abate ones, those ones you offset, all right? So two main differences lah. So a lot of companies in Malaysia, for us, YTL is heading towards carbon neutrality. For like Petronas and all that, so their targets are mainly net zero. Petronas, I think Sunway should be net zero. Most of the GLCs and bigger companies lah. It is a lot harder to get the net zero status actually. All right, so these are just your main differences between your carbon neutral and your net zero. I don't dive in too much into this because it'll be a bit complicated later on. Okay, so but then I want to go into this. So just now we talked about offset. So carbon neutral would be offsetting whatever emissions you have, right? Generally, it is a good practice if you do this other if you follow the hierarchy, basically your carbon management hierarchy. Okay, so basically we'll start from the bottom here, right? To avoid. So this is the first thing in your hierarchy that your company should do. Or if let's say generally if a normal person also wants to reduce emissions or wants to offset the emissions, your first step to the hierarchy is to avoid. So basically avoiding all your activities that produce emissions. For example, instead of let's say you got a meeting in the US or something, and you want to travel there, instead of doing that, instead of having to travel there all the way, you can have a virtual meeting. So that's to avoid. Example of avoiding your emissions. Okay. Second one would be to reduce. So this one would be to changing your activities to reduce your emissions, basically. So basically, for example, instead of using fossil fuels, you use your solar powered energy source. That's just an example. The third one would be to replace. So basically, this would be, for example, replacing your lights. Instead of using halogen or anything else, you use LED. It's a bit more energy saving, and you're reducing your scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 emissions. Scope 2, right? So scope 2 emissions. Your last step is actually offsetting. So this basically offsetting, you basically buy carbon, what you call carbon credits, and you offset your emissions. All right. So this one generally, sometimes you hear bad news about it. You hear like, oh, this company purchased these carbon credits from here. They didn't reduce their emissions and all that. So because they didn't follow the hierarchy, right? So generally at YTL, do you think we purchase carbon credits? Anybody? No. Yeah, we don't purchase carbon credits. Okay, so now we'll talk about the complicated bit or the fun bit, which is the compliance market and the voluntary market. So can y'all guess right now in Malaysia, are we compliance market or voluntary market? Correct. But soon it will be the compliance market, but specifically only for the steel industry, steel and energy. Okay, compliance can be anything. So compliance can be a cap and trade system, can be a carbon tax, for example. So carbon tax is what's coming for steel and energy lah. In Singapore, for example, their carbon tax used to be $5 per ton of carbon. Now it's $25 per ton of carbon. So for example, Power Australia will be very, very much affected by this. But because they're in Singapore, Singapore allows 5% of your emissions to be offsetted. So right now, that's what Power Australia is actually looking for, to offset 5% of their emissions through carbon credits. Your voluntary market, like you all said, it's currently happening in Malaysia, which is your Bursa Carbon Exchange. Okay. So what is a carbon credit? Anyone has any clue what's a carbon credit? Any idea? No? Okay. Good. Sorry? License to pollute. Okay, so a lot of people see it like that, but also there are good and bad sides to it, carbon credits. Okay, so basically 1 carbon credit is 1 ton of carbon dioxide equivalent, either removed or avoided. So basically, they're tradable instruments, they're credits basically, so they're tradable. Which is why you have the voluntary market. You know, you sell and trade carbon credits. And yep. So where does this transaction happen? For in Malaysia, it's through the Bursa Carbon Exchange. For other countries, it can be through voluntary platforms. Singapore has the thing called ACX. That's also a platform where you can trade, not trade, but buy carbon credits. All right, so this is your voluntary carbon market. Yep, so this is your Bursa. So currently this is what Bursa has right now. And so your carbon credits can be divided into 2 types, technology-based and nature-based. So technology-based can be something like CCS, sorry, carbon capture and storage. Okay, so basically that's what they directly capture the carbon dioxide, store it under used wells and all that. Okay, and it can come in many other forms. Like renewable energy is also, you used to be able to form carbon credits, but now because there's no, anyone can go into renewable energy right now. There's no barrier anymore. So right now we'll come into the term called additionality. Later on, you'll see a term called additionality. So sometimes some things like renewable energy, like solar and all that, they don't qualify for carbon credits anymore. Okay. Then you also have your nature-based projects, which is like afforestation, avoided deforestation, your blue carbon. Blue carbon sort of absorbs the most carbon dioxide. Any guesses on what blue carbon is? Okay, so basically blue carbon is your carbon absorbed through mangroves, seagrass, anything within your closer to aquatic areas. So that's blue carbon. So your trees and all that, your land trees and all that, those are generally called green carbon. Yeah. So generally, your blue carbon actually absorbs like about 10 times more carbon than your land trees. Yeah. Yeah, mangrove, seagrass, So we'll go into the type of offset. So from here, so Mr. King, just now you mentioned that it's a license to pollute, right? So what do you think makes a good offset? Or what do you think makes a bad offset? What do you think makes a good offset? Yeah.
What type of carbon credit?
Yeah.
Reversal of human activities.
Okay. Okay. Anything else? Right. Okay. So generally, when you want to come into when you want to make a good offset, there's these 6 measures, or rather 8 protocols, sorry, 8 protocols, 8 criteria we want to follow. Okay. So the first one is additionality. You want your project to be additional, which means your project has to be above your business as usual. So for example, your project has to be above the business as usual. So for example, if let's say you want to do a carbon credit project, you want to avoid deforestation in this one area. Okay, those are trees. So let's say this area was already protected by the government. Okay, would this be additional or not? So let's say this patch of jungle was already protected by the government, and now you want to make a carbon credit project. Would that, yeah? So because your business as usual is already protected. It's not even if you do a carbon credit project, it's not going to work, because it's not going to be additional. It's just going to be your business as usual, right? So, but let's say if you found a patch of forest that's going to be deforested, and then you say you want to start this project here and make it into a carbon credit project, you avoid that deforestation. So that becomes an avoided emission, right? So that's your additionality lah. Then you also have your permanence. Permanence is basically a risk study actually. So when you develop a carbon credit project, you also have a permanence risk study. So that assesses how long can what risks are there to your, let's say your jungle, talk about jungle again. So what risks are there to your jungle? Is it close to a site where it's easily going to burn up? Is it close to an area where there's landslides frequently occur? So it's basically measuring your permanence, whether your actual jungle that you protected now can last very long, whether it's going to be permanent or not. So that's actually a risk study. Measurable, your carbon credits have to be your avoided or reduced emissions have to be, you have to be able to you measure them lah. You can't just say, oh, I'm reducing 5 tons of carbon by not using a share. How do I measure that? Like I can't I haven't done any study, I just say only. So it has to be measurable. Verifiable, you need not only your own team to calculate, but you also need a third party assurance, which is why generally a lot of carbon credits are a bit expensive because your third party assurance is generally quite expensive. Okay, no double counting. That sort of means that if let's say you avoided, let's say your company, you want to develop a carbon credit project, and you said that your carbon credit project is reducing emissions from a certain area, right? And then in your sustainability report, on the other hand, you also say that your company reduces emissions. But actually, you're already selling carbon credits here. You can't do that. So that's double counting, right? Avoiding leakage. So for example, again, your tree planting just now. If let's say a timber company, for example, they want to say that, maybe not timber company, we are any other company, they say that, okay, so we have protected this forest that was going to be deforested, but now because we protected this, we're going to cut another area. That's leakage, right? So generally it has to be real, and no net harm is basically if let's say again your forest, you want to protect it, but then there's a community living there, and you say, oh, I need to kick them out because I'm protecting this area. That cannot happen, right? So all this, when you count it all together, it measures into a good quality offset. Right. So generally, a lot of projects out there now. Right now, for example, there's a project called South Cardamom Project. This is in Cambodia, if I'm not mistaken. So this project, initially it was selling for about $7 a ton of carbon dioxide. So $7, but because there were certain things that they found out about the project, for example, they found out there were actually rape cases going on. So the whatever team that was going there doing the protection of the forest, they were not actually doing the right thing. They were, there's rape cases going on and all that kind of stuff. News came out, the prices crashed. Now you can find the southern cardamom credits for 30 cents a ton, from $7 to 30 cents, because it became a bad quality offset, right? South cardamom, for example, actually was sold. It was actually auctioned in the Bursa Carbon Exchange, and a few companies actually bought this one, and they can't. So basically, once you buy an offset, you have to retire it. So basically, in your sustainability report, you mentioned that our scope 1, scope 3 was this much of carbon, and then we use this much of offset. We bought this much of offset to offset our emissions, right? That's generally how we use offsets lah. Once you offset your emissions, you have to say you retired the offsets, okay? But because I think like a few companies, they bought the credits and they couldn't use the credits, they had to just warehouse it. They couldn't use the credits, so it's more of like a paper loss for them already. So that's kind of the risky part about carbon credits, and that's what's happening out there lah. So generally, your avoided your credits are divided into two: your avoided emissions and your removal. Okay, so removal would be going into your long-term storage, your short-term storage, stuff like this. Like direct air capture is your long-term storage because you feed your carbon dioxide into a well. Your no storage or avoided emissions would be stuff that you avoid. So you avoid cutting down this area and all that. Okay, so this actually determines your price of your carbon, credits. So, for example, direct air capture per ton of carbon dioxide removed costs, this is the price of one carbon credit, 1,500 USD. All right. So generally, the price of your carbon credit depends on the type of project you have, and basically depends on the market lah. So it depends on what people want, what sort of credits people want right now. So again, it's your supply and your demand. If you have a low supply of blue carbon credits and you have a very high demand for it, obviously your price will go up, right? So generally, what we can see now is that blue carbon, for example, is about 21. Actually, it's about $27 right now. It's trading about $27 per ton of carbon, right? And these blue carbon projects are actually good projects. They're actually some in Pakistan. They actually this project actually they replanted the whole area of mangrove. At the same time, they're also helping a community there. So stuff like this is called co-benefits. So it's not only reducing your carbon emissions, it's also benefiting the people or community around, right? So that's why some credits your price can be quite high, especially if you help. Especially if the project is a project where you help the community or anything like that. Generally, your price goes up, right? So that's your prices. Any questions here so far? No? Okay, so what's the two types of credits? No. The one we did just now. One was? No, it's just before this. Starts with A. Yes? Avoided and? Removal. Okay, so removal, avoided. Okay, so SB Carbon actually does make a report on like our current prices of nature-based solutions. I mean, our current prices of the voluntary market and also the compliance market. We actually make a newsletter out of this and we send it out. So if you ever want to subscribe, please give us your email, right? Okay, so the next bit we'll go into, so we learned about carbon credits. We haven't gone into the compliance market yet. So currently we're still focusing on the voluntary carbon market, okay? So the next bit is RECs. So they're called renewable energy certificates. Has anybody heard of this before? No. Okay, so basically renewable energy certificates are basically your 1 megawatt hour of electricity generated from a renewable energy source. So for example, currently in TNB, you have a mix of your energy mix. Your energy is mixed. You've got coal, you've got solar, you've got hydro, you've got a lot of things that fossil fuels, coal, hydro, and everything all mixed into energy. You can't differentiate energy. Electricity is electricity, MWH is energy, right? You can't actually claim any sort of attribute to it. If you buy electricity, you don't know if it's renewable, you don't know if it's non-renewable, right? So basically, what RECs do, they give you the right to that 1 megawatt hour of clean energy. So basically, what is this? Right. So basically, what is this? It allows a certificate to be generated from the clean energy in your energy mix. Okay, and that attribute can go directly to your end user. Okay, so it's a certificate. It's a form of certificate. You can I can't show you this right now, but then it's basically a certificate. Like, it looks like a certificate. It says, "Oh, this is how much REC that you bought for this price." Okay. Who issues the certificate? Yeah. So there's this. I'll show you after this. Yeah. So basically, these are your registries: IRAC, Tigers, and APX. Okay. The most common one. So local based in Malaysia, we actually do have. It's called the MREX. Yeah, it's called MREX. So it's MREX and M Gates. But MREX is the one where you can actually buy certificates from there, the RECs from there. But for example, if you buy REC, I mean, if you make RECs, for example, our YTL DC plant, right? If you were to if you were to make RECs from there, from the solar plant, you can't claim, you can't use the, not can't use, but you can't basically claim that your data center is now green because you've sold the right to that 1 megawatt hour. You understand me? So if let's say, okay, so let's say I produce 200 megawatt hour in my solar plant, is right there. Can you not see Vedro here? Can. So if let's say I've got my solar plant here, can you see right? So these are all the solar farm. Okay, so let's say I produce 200 megawatt hour. Okay, and now this is connected to my data center lah. Okay, so if let's say I want to make this into a REC project, okay, I want to say that I want to sell 150 megawatt hour from here. So 150 megawatt hours would equal 150 RECs. Okay. So if let's say I sell these 150 RECs for that 1 year, I can't claim that my DC plant is now green because I'm only using 50. Technically, I'm only using 50. The balance here, balance is now 50 megawatt hour, and the rest of my electricity now, although I'm still using the 200 in my plant, the rest now I have to say that I'm using from TNB. I'm importing. I'm now buying electricity. So you've basically sold the right to say that this is now green. Ken, any questions here?
Which would be better than you rather be green or would you rather make the REC?
So it depends on the company's. If let's say you didn't have this data center, then you just want to sell racks, then you'll be it's a second income. Yeah. So which is why you sort of have to avoid, based on the standards, you have to avoid double counting. You can't. This double counting is very easy to happen here. Yeah. Okay. So when you buy RECs, which scope does that reduce? Because now you're offsetting your electricity. So let's say people who buy RECs, they buy, let's say one company bought 150 RECs, which is 150 megawatt. So which scope would they actually reduce? Yeah, scope 2 emissions. So basically your RECs can only reduce your scope 2 emissions, only your electricity. Okay? Okay. Yeah, so this is your difference between carbon credits and RECs. Okay. So your carbon credit is a tradable certificate, which is 1 ton of carbon, which can offset your scope 1, scope 2, scope 3. Your RECs, only for energy. Okay, unit measurement, metric ton of CO2e, here RECs, MWH. Offsetting scope 1, basically scope 2, 1, 2, and 3. Here it's only scope 2 from electricity consumption. Okay, here methodologies, here meter reading. Very straightforward, RECs. And for RECs, you don't need anything to do with additionality and all that. So for example, right now, one solar REC is about $6. One MWH. 1 MWH of electricity generated from solar is about $6 in the market right now. And hydro will be a lot cheaper. Hydro is about what, $3 to $4. Generally, hydro is US dollars. Yep. Hydro generally is a bit lower because a lot of people tend to know that if you build a hydro dam, you're actually causing a lot of harm to your environment and, for example, your Murun. Yeah, a lot of stuff. Okay, so any questions from the RECs or carbon credits? So far, no? All good? Understandable? If you've got any questions, you can just ask. Okay, cool. So now we'll go into the compliance market. Okay, so for this compliance market, for this example here that we use is called the cap and trade system. Okay, we won't go to carbon tax because carbon tax is quite general, like it's a tax. So the cap and trade system is called your emissions trading scheme. Okay, So this happens in a few countries. The European Union uses a emissions trading scheme. Some states in the US also use a compliance market, and UK, yeah, UK is also using a compliance market. So the emissions trading scheme is basically it's called a cap and trade system lah. So basically, the government sets a cap. Okay, so let's say I'm the government. I want to limit my emissions now in one industry. So for example, let's take steel. So production of steel. So you got many companies in this one industry, right? And they're all producing emissions. So now I'm the government. I say, steel industry, you have to limit your emissions now. Now your cap is now 3 metric tons of CO2e. This is just an example because usually it's a lot higher. So now your cap is now 3 metric tons of CO2e. Okay, any more than that, you will be fine. So if let's say this company factory B now has one extra, right? 0, 3, 1, 2, 3 extra, you'll be fine for this if you if you pass 1 year and you're still hitting that extra. They give you a limit basically, cap and trade system. Give you like 1 year and they'll say what's your emission at the end of this financial year. If your emission is still more than 4, for example, you'll be fine for the extra, for the excess. But basically what the government does here is they'll actually give you an allowance. So if they say your industrial cap right now is 3, they will give you a thing called allowance. They'll give you a certificate. They give you a certificate and say that you can produce this much of emissions. So for example, right now I'm the government, I say industrial cap is 3. So I give you only 3 allowances. I give you 3 certificates. So this company has 3 certificates, this company has 3 certificates. But now, because this company, factory A here, has 1 excess certificate, what they can do with the certificate is actually sell it. So they can actually sell that certificate and to take up that other company's emission. Right? So then now both factories are below the cap. So they basically both enjoy the benefit of staying below the cap. Factory A benefits a bit more because they sort of gain money from it, right? So I'll just watch this quick video on. This will basically summarize. Oopsies. Okay, so we'll watch this video really quick and then we'll start.
How does the European Union Carbon Emissions Trading Scheme work? The greenhouse gases present in the atmosphere help keep the Earth at an average temperature of 15 degrees Celsius. Without this greenhouse effect, the world's average temperature would be minus 18 degrees Celsius. Since the Industrial Revolution, large amounts of greenhouse gases are released into the atmosphere as a byproduct of human activities. Their rising concentration in the atmosphere leads to an increase in the average global temperature, which in turn disrupts our climate. In 2005, to limit the emission of greenhouse gases, the European Union decided to introduce the first multi-state carbon market. In 2015, this has become the largest emissions trading scheme in the world.
How does the European carbon market work? First, the European Commission defines an emissions cap for a certain time period. This cap is then divided and shared between the different market players in the form of tradable allowances. Each allowance represents the right for an industrial plant to emit 1 ton of CO2 equivalent. At the end of each period, plants must demonstrate a balance in their allowances and their emissions. They then have 4 months to return the corresponding allowances to the market authorities. For example, let's consider 2 companies which issued 100 allowances each, corresponding to an emission volume of 100 tons of CO2 equivalent. If at the end of the year, Company A has emitted 120 tons of CO2 equivalent, it will have 4 months to buy the excess allowances from the market, or it may purchase offset credits. The latter represents emission reductions achieved by other geographic zones or in other sectors. Beyond the 4-month period, if the company is not in compliance, it will have to pay a fine and provide the missing allowances. Conversely, if company B only emits 80 tonnes of CO2 equivalent, it can bank the excess 20 tonnes for use in future years or sell them to other companies. The European carbon market covers almost 50% of European CO2 emissions and includes almost 16,400 of the most polluting production facilities in the energy and industrial sectors. By 2020, the target is to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 21% compared to 2005 and by 43% by 2030. This will be achieved by setting an emissions cap, which will be lowered each year until 2030.
How does the carbon price influence the business strategy of companies? Setting a carbon price is meant to help incentivize companies to reduce their CO2 equivalent emissions. The company must decide what is the most economical option in the long term. Should it compensate for its emissions by buying allowances, or should it invest in low carbon technologies now? If a company anticipates that the price of carbon will be lower than the cost of reducing its greenhouse gas emissions through technology, then it will most likely prefer to buy allowances or offset credits. If the opposite is true, it will prefer to invest immediately in energy-efficient technologies or in renewable energies, or both. That is how the carbon market supports the development of clean technologies, on the condition that it has a strong carbon price in the long term.
Okay, cool. So that's basically your emissions trading scheme lah, or your cap and trade system. Okay, so this is our last activity for today. It's going to be a bit of a, need you guys to move around for this one, okay? So, okay, so can each group, so right now you're in your groups, right? Can each group choose one number? 10. 10. So again, this game is to help you understand the emissions trading scheme or the cap and trade system. Okay, so this group 10. Okay, next one.
9.
9. Okay, 9. So last group will be 6. Okay, very confident with your choice, huh? Okay, so basically your pink cards are basically your emissions. Okay, so basically right now we're in a cap and trade system. So I'll call you group A, B, and C. Okay, so group A right now has 10, right? Hey, sorry, group A has 9, 10, and 6. Okay, so this is your current emissions for your companies. Okay, so all of y'all are in the same industry, in the, let's say, what industry you all want? Okay, like construction, all construction industry. Okay, so now I'm the government. I will cap your emissions today. Okay, so right now I'm going to cap your emissions at 27. Okay, so basically I cap the entire industry, your construction industry, at 27 emissions. Okay, so collectively all of y'all together, 9 plus 10, 19, 20, what? 25? Oh yeah, it's 25. So yeah, okay, so basically right now, everybody in your first year of your emissions trading, your emissions trading scheme, everyone here is no problem. Everyone, nobody gonna fine. Okay. Oops. Okay, so for this one, sorry, I forgot to give you all your allowances. So for this one, my first year as government, I give you all proportional. Wait, 9. So for this one, I give you all proportional.
All 9. How much?
9. So it's with 10, 6. This 9.
10, 6, you take a 3.
Okay.
7.
7 there.
Let's count the cards. Thank you.
Okay, so this one's 10. So now I'm the government. I say, hey, I give you all proportional allowances. So basically, in your first year right now, in your first 4 months right now, I say like, okay, I give you guys based on your emissions, I give you guys the same number of allowances. Okay, so you got the same number of everyone got the same number of certificates. Got? Okay, so everyone right now, all of y'all are okay, safe, well below the industrial cap. Okay. Okay, so now give us back your allowances. Yep. Because now, so now my first year, the first year has ended. Okay, so now 1 year, 4 months has passed, and now you guys have to give back your allowances. Nobody got. Okay. Okay. Alright, let me keep this first. Okay, round 2. So your industrial cap is now. Okay. So this time, one group, you guys get 9. So I give you guys equal allowance. So it's 27 divide 3. Okay, so I give you guys 9. Okay. Did I give you 9 or 6? Good. Okay. So now, based on the emissions cap, so this will be 25 or not 27. So it's 25. It's 25 actually. Yeah. Okay. So based on the emissions cap right now, I give you guys 9 allowances. Sorry, yeah. 27, yeah, correct. So it's 27, and then it's 9 allowances each. But now each of y'all have extra or enough allowances.
Extra.
Who has extra? Yeah. Okay. So basically now, what company C can do is they actually sell their allowances to both of y'all, so that y'all can reach. So that y'all can reach your same number of emissions. So basically now is basically a bidding process also. Company A and B, you guys can bid. So yeah, I forgot to tell you. So these green cards you guys have is your money. So 5. So I give you guys extra base 5. Okay, so basically company A and B, what you guys have to do right now is to bid for their allowances. But company C, you guys can choose whether you want to actually sell or you want to let them get fined. Yeah, so basically, yeah, so they have 3. Yeah, they have 3 to sell. So company A, how many do you need?
3 to sell or follow this.
So just now you had also now you 9, right? Yeah, now you plus 1 emissions. 1 year has passed, so you pass. You add on 1 emissions. So 1 year has passed. Your business has grown. You also, yeah.
Yes, 7, 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
So we need to buy 1 from you. How much you sell?
We got 5 million here. We got 5 million.
We spend all the little to buy the wall.
Yeah, bidding process. So up to them how they wanna. So up to you, also up to y'all how if y'all wanna sell.
Don't need we need 1. For 9. We need 2.
So you count how many allowances you have, count how many emissions you have.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, 9 level 2. So 1 shot.
You can also buy extra. So if let's say you buy extra from them, let's say you buy all 3. No. So basically now you need 2, right? So if you buy all 3, you can keep that one. You can keep the extra. But up to them if they want to sell the extra. Lah. Yeah.
How much is the fine? You haven't told us.
How much is the fine? Later you find out. Later you find out. Can you all can start trading? Okay.
We must save each other.
Okay, y'all are 3 different companies. Okay, no, very Okay, let's think of yourself different group. Maybe one is Gamuda, one is Sunway. Okay, it could be Sunway, Gamuda, YTL. Okay, do you all know the fine? Do you all want to know the fine? How much?
Yeah.
One emissions for $3. Yeah.
They don't sell.
Okay, sure you want to pay the fine. So one emissions is 3. One more. There's 2 more rounds. Yeah. So there's one more round. Yeah. So want to pay the fine or buy allowance? How much you want to bid for? How much you want to buy one for? You know lah.
Let's try 1 million.
No, we don't want the industry to collapse. We all think industry construction. After the government come up to all words, we have to support each other. Next year, in trouble. We support you all. We support you all.
You say you reduce your operation and you reduce your emission.
Okay, put the promise. The promise, okay, agree with your agree with your conditions. Okay, agree with after 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, okay. After 2 weeks,
Can they reduce the emissions instead?
Can they reduce the emissions?
Yeah.
No, we promise.
By downsizing.
By downsizing the operations. It's their own. Up to them if they want to do that.
Where did it go?
Boleh kan? Okay, thank you very much.
We are not paying, we are paying 1,
Oh, yeah, they're giving our commitment.
Yeah, so right now Group B wants to ask for free. Group A is actually willing to pay.
Pay 1 again. 1 for 1.
So one for?
1 for 1 million.
1 for 1 million. Okay, nice.
So we are carbon neutral.
So Group B still don't want to spend?
Still trying to get it for
Okay, we want to pay the fine to pay to this lady over here.
Wait, no.
If they have to pay the fine, they have to pay
6.
6 lah.
Yeah.
6 because 1.
Oh,
Yeah.
6.
Yeah.
You can buy only 1. So instead of paying 6, you pay us 4, then we give you 1.
Just offer $1.
2. Instead of them paying 6, they fork out 5. 2 for our credit and 3 to the
Up to you all if you want to do that. So you can keep your excess allowance for the next reporting.
next cycle.
Yeah, next cycle you can keep it.
You pay your fine.
Got enough money. Yeah, you can continue to nego with them if you want. Still want to sell or not?
Because the first company changing the benchmark. Earlier they talking about whether they can apply or not that. Now they are upping it up so we know they're not having a consistency. So they are becoming unfortunately moving. So unfortunately they also have the upper hand.
Only they got follow market very volatile because we have to leverage. We have to leverage. Next year the fine will go up though.
No, fine, maintain. But you'll see more things happening. How? Don?
Maybe I would improve what.
So yes, no, yes, no.
We can't do any competition because we cannot pay the fine, not enough to pay the fine. We're not enough to pay, do not have enough to pay the fine, we're not able to buy. So we have to go shop.
How much money? After you collected so much money yourself. Yeah, then all three, huh?
Oh, you mean our one we collected?
Yeah.
The individual one.
Yeah.
Oh, that means it's fine.
Pay fine. Okay, so now you're paying a fine. You also have to give back your. Okay. You have to give back your allowances. So equal amount of allowances. Okay. So you all got only the excess you keep, huh? That's what, yeah. Okay, very good.
Actually, the initial should give back also because already.
Just think of it as your next year, and then you also same emissions. Okay, so but this time you got opportunity. Let me. My project engineer is behind there. He can offer you guys 3 projects. One is to develop a hydrogen plant to reduce your scope 1 emissions. So your scope 1, your emissions reductions here is 5. So if you buy his project, his hydrogen project, you can minus 5 from your emissions. Huh? So it depends now. So it depends on how much you can bid to my engineer there.
We should start bidding lower.
I don't trust your life. It's not your life.
Okay, so now this project gone. So now you got 2 more projects. One is to build a small runoff river micro hydro, and another one is to build agri solar. Hey, sorry, we give him allowance. So it's to minus the emissions.
Oh, you want to? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So you minus off your emissions. Yeah.
But the emission already minus already.
When?
Earlier one?
No, I didn't minus.
It's okay.
You want some more?
So this is all already.
No, we buy some more.
Yeah, you can buy some more if you want. Oh no, too late. He sold the last project already.
Every year we get emission reduction.
Okay, so your new year has passed, and your emissions cap is now 24. Okay, so each group will now get 8 allowances.
What's the each one's emission?
Yeah, hold on.
Kita buat G. PRU. I don't like this government. Apa hati?
Oh yeah, that's for the money, right? Okay, so now, hold on, let me just bring this up. Okay, so now you guys have a chance of making money through a random number generator. Can? So right now, 1 year has passed, your profits also increased, but we need to randomly assign your profits. Okay? So this is your money, the money that will give you after this. Okay? So right now sorry, give 5 minutes. Okay, so send one representative from your group to come and click the button here. Who thinks that lucky fingers? It's 1 million for one, ma. Okay, go. Come and click. Who's, yep. Yep. Also, you click the button. Yeah. Okay, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Here you go. Yep. For generate. Okay, sorry. You better. Okay, 4, nice. Oops. Okay, so now your emissions allowances, I'll give you already, right? Okay, so now you can count how many emissions you have and how many allowances you have. Is everyone still below the cap? Can? Oh god. Oh really? So nobody is your allowances are enough? Oh nice, because they bought the sun just now. Very good. So actually that's the end of it actually. So anybody with access? Nobody access? Oh very good. Please, a lot of money, sure. I will not audit y'all. Okay, very good. Congrats, guys. Congrats, the whole group. Most of the other times we play this, actually one group will always suffer the most because they either have no money or the highest emissions. So yeah, well done to you all. Okay. Yeah, you can return. Just keep the cards to the side. So it's fine. Okay. Can? Okay, so we'll come to the last bit of our workshop, which is greenwashing. So this is the thing that I spoke about earlier. Basically, it's unsupported claims to deceive the public into believing a company is actually green. So I think a long while back there was a company called, still a company, I think it's Rexona or something. They put their they made bottles. They claimed that the whole thing was made out of recyclable material. But then when you actually open the entire thing, it was actually a plastic bottle inside. So stuff like that is counted as greenwashing. You're actually not actually doing anything green, but you're just sort of washing it, making it look like it's green. Yep. Yeah. So basically, why or rather, what happens when you greenwash is why it happens is actually because sometimes the company fails to prioritize your hierarchy. So what was the first hierarchy just now? The bottom one. Avoid. Second one? Reduce. Third? Yep. Fourth? Very good. So basically, if they don't follow the hierarchy of the first three, you end up just offsetting. You're just buying your way through, or rather, a certificate to pollute. Yep. Okay. So benefits of carbon credits. So so they do have benefits. They do have benefits to the project you're actually buying into. I wouldn't say it's investing because you're actually buying off one off. You're not putting in money there, waiting it for it to grow. You're actually investing into projects. You're actually providing funds into projects, which sometimes can be good. But obviously, so remember the CDM spoke about earlier, the Kyoto Protocol. So that completely failed because this emissions reduction projects happening is that time they call it, instead of calling it carbon credits, they call it CERs, carbon reduction. Yes. Okay. So similar to carbon credits, but those weren't verified. They weren't rated or anything like that. But right now, what we have is we have a lot of rating companies. So companies actually, the third party, they come in, rate the project, see if it's actually good. They rate it by 8 standards at least, by AAA, AA, single A, and continuing. So basically, this is what we can actually see now, instead of what happened last time in CDM. There's more audit trail, there's more transparency now compared to last time. And there's new studies actually show that companies that actually buy carbon credits, they actually follow the hierarchy. They actually do the first few and then offset their remaining emissions. They're hard to abate emissions. Okay, any questions? Any questions? Okay, so that's basically all we have for today. Thank you for your time. Thank you for joining this workshop. Hope it's beneficial to you guys. Sorry, we haven't ended yet. We've got one more thing to do. What? No, not Q&A, not Q&A. Have y'all done a... Okay. Okay, everyone got your phones? Okay, so everyone scan the QR there. If you can't scan, you can just search kahoot.it. Come very close, sorry. Finally. Okay, go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so all 9 inside? Everyone inside? Okay. Wait, why I got 10 people? Oh. Okay, let's start. Okay, so everyone knows how to play Kahoot? No, okay, so basically what's going to come out is a question, and there's going to be 4 answers. Yeah, so basically the answers are by color. So what you'll see on your phone are 4 different boxes of different colors. They will match the color of the answers. Okay? You can look at the screen first to see the question, and then your phone is only the answers. Yeah. Why greenhouse gases problem for the planet? Okay, nice. They trap heat in there. Yeah. Okay, so first one is just a warm up. They trap heat in the atmosphere and cause climate change. Okay, next one. Wow, got 1% answer here. Which of the following is not a recommended way to offsetting? This is actually one way of actually reducing or offsetting emissions. Okay. Okay, which of the following is an example of scope 2 emissions? So scope 2 was? Buy. So buying electricity, purchase electricity. Okay. Okay, nice. Oh, some people didn't answer. Yeah, so main one is carbon dioxide. Any idea why? Any idea why? Why carbon dioxide? Because we're all made of carbon, so form carbon dioxide. So anything you burn forms carbon dioxide. Ooh, nice. Water vapor. Yeah, so basically it's water vapor. So because of your more heat in the climate, it actually causes a lot of evaporation, which causes a lot of water vapor, more clouds forming. Okay, because of that, clouds actually trap a lot of heat. So the most potent one is actually water vapor. What? Is the greenhouse is counted as greenhouse gas? Because the greenhouse is the effect. Greenhouse is the effect of your warming, ma. So it's actually it's actually a cause and effect. Yeah. Yeah, it's a trick zone. Very good. 3 scopes. True or false? All mix the colors or what? So what scope is it? Yeah, scope 1. Nice. Equivalent to 1 ton of carbon dioxide being reduced or removed. Avoided or reduced. Okay. So it's a hierarchy as now. Yep. So it's avoid, reduce, replace, offset. Very good. So what was it? Employee commute and? Yeah, this is travel. Which of the following is not example of scope 1 emissions? Yep. So this one, employee commuting. Nice. Right. Yep. Energy sector is the biggest. Okay, so the remaining questions are all, I think there will be more general knowledge questions. So see if you can get lah. You might not get it, so just hantam. Oh, compliance market. Yep. So it's still voluntary at the moment, not yet compliance. So what's the example of compliance market? Yep, carbon tax and one more. The cap and or the ETS. They call it ETS. What's ETS stand for? Yep, emission trading scheme. Yeah, very good. Fossil fuels. So generally, removal credits are a lot higher. So like direct air capture, blue carbon, all removal. Okay, last 3 questions. Wow, why all the true? should be strictly avoided. Why should it be strictly avoided? You can buy carbon credits. Often misused as to promote greenwashing. No lah. So remember the last bit of slides I did? Greenwashing. Yeah, so the statement.
It's not clear what is to be avoided, whether it's the carbon credits or the misuse of carbon credits.
Oh, okay, I understand.
Whether the purchasing carbon credits.
Okay, and then we'll just see who gets the highest point here lah.
Rephrase the question.
Yeah.
Okay, nice. By promoting use of personal EV among white-tail employees, which scope of emission does this initiative contribute to? So which scope? Yeah, scope 3, employee. Yeah, employee commuting. Guys, it's actually Australia. Yeah.
Australia?
In 2012. Okay, so who's pink? Pink, Kamal, and King. Okay, so I have prizes for King, Kamal, and Pink. Pink. Congrats. Okay, so that's the end of our. Yeah. Okay, so that's the end of our workshop today. Thank you everybody for coming. Okay, so you guys. Okay, everyone can go for lunch already, I guess.